Hi everyone, Molly Charlie Murphy here, Camp Director and Program Manager Outdoors for the Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trails. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be making a hand constellation art project to help us celebrate learning about the stars, how we used to guide ourselves by the stars, and about constellations in general. The first thing we're going to start with is our supplies, and then we're going to move it to making a rough draft, and then our final draft of our project. Okay, so here are the supplies that you will want to use. Some of these are optional, so you only have to use them if you have them on hand. But for sure, you definitely are going to need one white sheet of paper for doing our rough draft, and then you're going to need a dark colored piece of paper, so black or navy blue, brown, dark red, dark purple, whatever color you want. You're also going to need a white pencil or a white marker or a white crayon and a silver marker if you have one. So those are the two most important colored ones, and then a regular pencil as well. Paintbrushes are optional. You can use those if you want to add extra decoration afterwards. A couple of other optional things that I have here for mine is some glow-in-the-dark paint and some glitter glue. So those are our supplies. And then we're going to take our white paper first. We're going to take everything else and move it to the side. And we want our pencil, so just our regular pencil. And what you're going to do, first you're going to brush the dog hair off your paper, and then you're going to take your hand and you're going to put it in the middle of the paper. And then either you trace your hand or you get a friend or family member to trace your hand, starting from your wrist. And just go very, very lightly. Do it as lightly as possible. To pick some spots where we want our stars to go. And so the stars should go on one of the lines, but they don't need to be on top of each other. So I'm just gonna do little X's for where I want my stars. Okay, so let's see if you can see. So you can see you've got my nice little stars there. Perfect. All right, so now you are going to, and this is just our rough draft, remember, so it's teaching us how to do it. And so then you take your eraser, I don't even know if that'll erase, and you're gonna erase the lines in between your stars. My eraser's not very good, but that's okay. And I'm not going to do all of them because this is just our rough draft. So then you'll have just your stars without the line, so you can't see the outline of your hand anymore. And this is where you get to decorate. So we're not going to decorate the whole thing. We're just going to do a couple of little examples. And so this is where you would use your, if you're on your black paper, your white pencil. And because I'm on my white paper, I'm just going to use my silver marker. And you're going to go over your stars. Just like that. And if you wanted to get really fancy, you can put some glitter glue on them as well. So now they're not so much of a star shape, they're just a little bit shiny. And I'm gonna save the glow-in-the-dark paint for my black paper, but that's kind of the gist, the example of what we're gonna do. We always wanna test it on our white paper first, because for example, how I realized my eraser on my pencil doesn't work very well, if I had tried to do that on my black paper, it would have messed up my final product. So you always wanna do a rough draft first. And that's it, those are the steps for our rough draft for our hand constellation. Okay, so moving on to our final product for our hand constellation, you're going to get your black paper out, and you can either do it like this, or you can do it like this, whichever way you want to go. If you're comfortable not doing the hand tracing like we did on our rough draft, you can just put your hand down and use your pencil to very lightly make some little marks, some little circles for where you want to put your stars. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to trace my hand this time. We're going to do a different shape. We're going to do this, the live long and prosper shape. So I'm going to do a little mark there. Okay. So I have, it's very hard to see them on the camera, but I have a mark here, 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 and here. And so you can barely see them with my regular pencil. So I'm going to go back over them with my white pencil, and I'm just going to do little circles. You can do big stars, you can do little stars. All right. So there are these stars of my constellation. Oh, you can see them pretty well on the camera. Excellent. So I am going to go back in with some glitter glue. Okay, this one is almost empty, but there's a little bit in there. So we're going to do just a couple of them blue. And then we'll go back and we'll do silver for the other ones. And a really fun project that you can be thinking of while you're doing this one that you can do afterwards as well is you can create the myth and the story for your constellation. So my hand, I put it in the shape of the live long and prosper symbol from Star Trek. And so I might write my myth or my story about how this constellation, the Charlie constellation, is all about giving it and being kind and helping others live a life that means something, to live long and to prosper. And they prosper by being kind to each other. If I can get my glow-in-the-dark paint to come out of the jar. Sometimes painting is a nice moment of quiet reflection. Okay, so I have my big paintbrush here. I have my paint and I just put it inside the cap. And we're going to put some paint on the paintbrush. And we're gonna flick it onto the paper. And you're not gonna be able to see it very well as it's going onto the paper because it is mostly clear. And this just creates kind of a background. And if you wanted to get really fancy, you could even paint a galaxy or a night sky on first and then put your hand constellation over. You do want to make sure that the constellation that you're making has bigger stars than if you're putting any smaller stars on. So the glow-in-the-dark paint will eventually look like smaller stars. Okay, awesome. Set that to the side so I can wash it later. And I'm going to use a napkin and wipe my hand off because I got some paint on my hand. And we're going to get super fancy up in here. And we're going to do a shooting star somewhere. And so the way that I learned how to draw a shooting star is you just do a very light circle and then a little bit of a tail. And your tail should be a little bit of a triangle, nice and long. And then you want a couple of little smaller tails coming off of it. Excellent. If your constellation is going to be near the moon, you can add the moon to your painting. And so that's it. That is what your finished hand constellation will look like. And you can write your myth or your story and you can put it on the back of your constellation. You can put it next to your constellation. You can share it verbally as an art of storytelling. And that's really it. And just remember that learning to be guided by the stars was one of the earliest ways that people got around. And so we always want to remember the history of constellations and how they've really helped our civilization. And if this is a fun craft and a way to do that.